For those of you just arriving, this is Paul Henderson, President of Pro Travel Network. I want to thank all of you for taking the time to get on tonight's call. Tonight's call is about getting started. We're not going to cover how to book. We're not going to cover a lot of things going into the process. We'll cover that information as the days roll on. Tomorrow night, Sales and Marketing 101. So let's get started with tonight's call. The first thing we're going to talk about is your business. Pro Travel Network, this is your business. It is Pro Travel Network's philosophy that every single person who is with us, whether you are an outside agent, an independent agent, or even an agent who works in our office as an employee, it is our philosophy that each and every one of you is, in fact, your own business. What we try to do is create an atmosphere and create the training and the tools to help you succeed in your own business. However, there's something required of you, and that's developing the mind of a business owner. We can help you with that. Sometimes what we can't help you with is the desire and the commitment that it takes to pursue that. And that's where a lot of people fail, especially in this business. I'm going to say this right up front on this call because this is the meat call. Number one. A lot of people that get started with Pro Travel Network, and probably a lot of businesses, they're not serious. They don't understand the commitment that is required to be successful. They expect everything to go perfectly the way that they imagine them. And when you start in business, that is the farthest thing from the truth. When you become a business owner and you become a successful business owner, you begin to learn to do something. I want you guys to write this down. You begin to learn to roll with the punches. Why? And write this down, because you have to. If quitting is not an option, if success is where you want to go, then you've got to learn to roll with the punches of business. You've got to understand that nothing is personal. That client that gives you a bad review, that client that charges back the credit card, that booking that doesn't go right, that supplier that doesn't return your call, when you call the Pro Travel office and somebody doesn't return your call, when your client gives you a bad check, I could list 1,000 things. And those 1,000 things would probably make each and every one of us go, oh, man, oh. But guess what? When you become a true business owner, you just roll with the punches. It's not personal. Life gets in the way. People have kids. People have commitments, school, jobs, businesses, church. I mean, people have so many things going on. It's not about you. What we need to do is focus on doing the best that we can. And when it doesn't go as planned, we just keep on going. Someone does something wrong, hey, it's not a big deal. Customer doesn't call you back, you call them back. Why? Because you're supposed to. You see, I want you guys to write that down. Because you're supposed to. You call Pro Travel. Jessica promised you she'd call you back in 30 seconds. She didn't. Are you going to get mad, or are you just going to call her back? No, you're going to call her back because she's supposed to. I'm bringing that up only because she's my wife, but we have a lot of people working at the home office, and it could happen. You call a supplier. I'm going to call you right back. I'm going to send you a confirmation in a few minutes. It doesn't happen. You send them money, and they don't even tell you they never got the money. You book a flight, and there's a flight change, and they don't even notify you of the flight change. Your customer calls you, and he's all upset. What do? Handle it. As business owners, there's no place to get personal. That's what employees do. We're moving from the employee mindset to the business mindset. Employees, if they show up to the office and the lights are off, they go home. Let's go to the movies today. Let's take the day off. Let's go to the bar. But a business owner, guess what he does? He goes and buys a generator because he's on a mission. He's got bills to pay. It's not an option. He's got employees that are depending on him. And so as you start your business, you need to take it as serious as you can possibly take it. And I'm not saying that you're not going to have a lot of fun. That fun comes not from the destination, but from the journey. If you enjoy and you begin to commit yourself to these principles, you will begin to enjoy it. When things go wrong, you start to laugh. You chuckle. You begin to say things like Paul Henderson. You know, some people call me and I think to myself, oh, a problem finder. Where are the problem solvers? Let's say a page on the website doesn't work because we're always doing things. You get mad, you just walk away. I'm pissed off because that didn't work. Well, guess what? That doesn't help anybody. You're a problem finder. Great. The world is full of them. How about grabbing the URL, taking a snapshot, sending it to us so in 5 minutes we can get it corrected? These are the things that are going to happen to you in business with your clients, with your suppliers, with your internet interfaces. You're going to have a booking that needs to be booked right now, and you're going to log into Inter, or you're going to log into WestJet Vacations, or you're going to log into Vax, and guess what? Their site's going to be down. The booking won't load. Don't get mad. Just chuckle. Find another way to get it done. That's what being in business is all about. And you're going to hear me talk about this either directly or indirectly for the entire rest of this session, because really success is about a mindset. We've got all the tools you need to be successful. Well, Paul, how do you know that? Because guess what? There were travel agents successful when there was just a green screen. They didn't have all the tools we have. They had to pick up the phone to make every booking. Now we have every seemingly resource known to man in the digital era, and there are still people who can't even get on the website, who give up because, I couldn't invoice this. I'm done. So it's a mindset. You've got to have the right mindset to be successful before you even start. Otherwise, you're wasting your time. You're wasting our time. Pro Travel Network has a full refund policy. We're not forcing anybody to be in Pro Travel. You get started, 10 days later, you don't think it's for you, full refund. 15 days, 20 days, 30, full refund. Why? Because if you're not in it to win it, you just cost everybody money. It's better off to just give you your money and let you go back to doing whatever it is that you were doing previously. Now, granted, there's a lot of opportunities, so I'm not saying Pro Travel is it. I don't think that we're the ultimate anything. We're just an opportunity that's real for those that want to make it happen. So let's move into various things that are required of you to build this business. Some of you have been with Pro Travel for years. Some of you have been with Pro Travel 10 years. But again, with a lot of the things that we're bringing on board, we need to make sure that everybody's focused and fully on board with where we're at today. The first thing I want to talk about tonight is the legal. Write that down, the legal. The good news is, for those of you in the U.S., the legal is very simple. Just do what's right. There's not much more than that. In the U.S., travel is not highly regulated. We do, in fact, have registration with the California Seller of Travel, Florida, Nevada. There's only about 5 or 6 states that actually regulate travel, and we have registrations with those states. But basically what they say is just keep it legal. We don't want to hear any clients saying that you stole their money. And so if you treat the client properly and you handle the money properly, you will not have any issues in the U.S. In Canada, pretty much the same unless you live in Ontario or Quebec or British Columbia. Outside of that, it's pretty much similar to the U.S. rules and guidelines. However, in the Ontario province, if you live there, the rules are not only there, but they are strict. And before I go into them, just briefly, everybody on this call needs to understand that Pro Travel Network has adopted the same rules for the company that Ontario has for its citizens. Because the rules that they have in place, although strict, are important, they're valid, and they're correct. All right, I'm going to go ahead and log in here, and I am going to pull the policies and procedures. Now, this is for the ITAs, travel agents. Now, these policies and procedures, each one of you has to acknowledge that you've read them at the time of enrollment. However, we also have them here, since everybody books travel, we have it here that, again, you've got to authorize that you've read them. And here they are. I'm not going to go through all of them, but I am just going to go through just a couple of sections here. And those sections have to do with who you work with and work for. Now, each of you is what we call 1099 or T4 employee, whether you're U.S. or Canada. That means you do not work for Pro Travel. You work for yourself. You're considered an outside sales representative or a independent travel agent. Independent travel agents in the U.S., outside sales reps in Canada. But I want to make very clear that we hold both responsible for the policies and procedures, and the policies and procedures are based on the laws of Ontario. It does not matter that you live in the U.S. because Pro Travel has adopted these rules so that they're uniform for everyone, and they're important. I'm not saying these rules are not in the U.S. as well, but the Canadian or the Ontario rules are so well laid out that we clearly adopt them, and every one of you is under these rules and regulations. If you do not want to be, then tonight, tomorrow, the next day is a good day to decide that you no longer want to be part of Pro Travel or part of this business, because this is it. And so let me just quickly go through some of these. First of all, Pro Travel Network is called the registrant. We are the agency of record, period. When it comes to money, all monies must come to either Pro Travel directly or they must go to the supplier directly. Funds are not supposed to go through your bank. They're not supposed to be taken by you and then you in turn use your credit card. That is completely improper. Not only is it improper, but in Ontario and a lot of Canada, it's illegal. You could find yourself in jail, okay? Pro Travel Network. At this moment, just to give you guys an idea, we have over $20,000 that is set aside that TICO monitors that we have that money as pure free flow cash flow. That means it's not used for anything. It just sits there to make sure that we have that cushion at all times based on our sales. Number two, we have a $10,000 cash bond that they actually hold against any issues from clients who say that you did something incorrect or wrong. That money is there. So we've got a serious commitment to this opportunity that we don't have to have in the U.S. But we believe in the opportunity, we believe in our agents, and we also believe that the TICO guidelines, TICO is the Travel Industry Council of Ontario, while strict, are very much proper. Couple of things. Number one, you must make sure that at all times, all monies either come to the registrant. That means if a client has cash, have the client go get a money order. Have them stop by 7-Eleven, have them stop by the bank, and turn that cash into a money order payable to Pro Travel Network. Or they can stop by and get a prepaid credit card if they don't have one, and you can use that to pay the money directly to the supplier. At no time should there be any commingling of funds, because that is what opens us up to lawsuits, mistakes, errors, chargebacks, fraud. Again, in Ontario, it's the law. For our agents of Ontario, and it will also say Pro Travel as well, all marketing materials must be produced by the registrant, that's us, and approved by Pro Travel. Now that's something that in the U.S., we don't really hold you to that. If you want to make marketing materials, as long as the information in those materials is accurate, as long as you can sell it for what you say you can sell it for, as long as whatever you're promoting is true, we're okay with that. However, in Ontario, we want to approve everything. It only takes a few minutes, but there are certain rules and guidelines that we need to make sure are there. We've had complaints. We've actually had one gentleman who we got called on the carpet on because his advertising was not correct, did not have full disclosure. And I'm just going to read this. For all other agents, it is understood that Pro Travel Network has adopted these same regulations as part of its own internal policies and procedures. So that means it goes for everybody. It means that we all agree to act under these guidelines. Here's what it says. For U.S. and Ontario agents, while transactions may take place outside of the office, all transactions must follow all rules and regulations as described in Section 7, 8, 10, and 10A. This includes, but is not limited to, full disclosure of the price, consulting or service fees, the availability of trip cancellation and out-of-province health insurance, which must be provided or offered to a consumer prior to booking travel. That means everybody must let their clients know that they have the availability of trip cancellation insurance or even health insurance. And guess what? The client does not have to book it or buy it, but you have to prove that you've actually let the client know. If a client misses his flight, if a client gets sick, if a client changes his mind and he says that, he got sick and you never told him that he could get insurance, guess what? You become liable for the entire booking, not the $300 commission, the entire amount of the booking. It's also a violation of law, okay? So from a sales perspective, it's great. I love it. Every time you let a client know that, and especially when you say, by law, I have to let you know this, that puts the onus on them. That's going to make a lot of people say, sure, I'll take it. You can earn 25, 30, 40, even 45% commission on travel insurance. So it's a great thing, but it's still required. All outside sales reps and agents must also review the terms and conditions of the reservation with the consumer, and the consumer must be advised in writing with documentation for all the passengers at the time of transaction. In addition, Pro Travel Network invoice and receipt detailing the travel services being purchased must be immediately provided at the time of sale. That means there's no such thing as taking a client's credit card, punching it through to Carnival, and then when you get around to it 2 days later, you send the client an invoice via email. That is improper. It is incorrect. It is illegal. I know some of you out there have done that. Well, Paul, you don't understand. I was 11 o'clock at night when the client called me. Then you need to have the client call you back in the morning. If you can't stay up an extra half an hour to invoice it, don't take the money. It's the law. It's a violation when you do. And really, it's just a violation of the most basic business ethics. You can't even go to the liquor store and buy a soda without getting a receipt, let alone taking money from a client with regards to travel, which is probably the third or fourth largest purchase most people ever make compared to a home and a car. Yet we have agents that treat it like it's no big deal. I'm just going to charge this guy's credit card $4,500 and give him an invoice in 3 months, 2 weeks. Oh, you know what? They've already traveled. Where's my commission? I guess I better invoice it so Pro Travel can match that up. That's not going to happen anymore. Pro Travel will give you 24 hours to provide proof that you've invoiced it. Other than that, your commission will be forfeit. Just because it's okay for you not to have a receipt, but you know what? It's not okay for you. You wouldn't go in Best Buy and buy a TV and not walk out with a receipt proving that you got it in case you need to take it back. But yet you'll take $5,000 and won't give an invoice. Or you'll say, well, I gave them a copy of Carnival's receipt. They didn't buy it from Carnival. Pro Travel Network. You are the person they purchased it from. That Carnival receipt means nothing. Carnival will just say, well, you know what? We didn't give you that receipt. You need to go see Pro Travel because that's who we have the contract with. Okay? Very important. All Pro Travel Network members are required to follow the same rules as the registered travel agency, that's us, concerning monies received. Any monies received by an outside sales representative or independent travel agent must be payable to the registered agency, and any consumer checks must be made payable to the travel retailer, who is Pro Travel Network, and deposited into our trust account. A Pro Travel Network receipt and invoice shall be immediately provided to the consumer that clearly outlines the details, particularly the customer's name, address, all that stuff. It's all required by law. Okay? One last thing. Those of you in Ontario are required to pass the TICO exam. You are not allowed to talk about travel, discuss travel in any way, shape, or form until you've passed that exam. And that has nothing to do with the marketing side, but for travel purposes, you must in fact qualify for and pass the TICO exam. It's not very difficult. It's a simple exam, but you have to do a little studying, maybe a couple, 2-3 hours, and you schedule the exam, you pass it, and you're ready to go. All right? Okay, now I am pretty much done with this. I want to go over one last thing, the compensation schedule. Pro Travel Network pays 50% of all commissions received in conjunction with your travel sales, subject to the following company rules and regulations. And those rules and regulations are Pro Travel Network must have in its possession the proof of a proper Pro Travel Network invoice and receipt within 24 hours of receipt of any funds received by you. That means if a client gives you 10 cents, they need to get a receipt, which is on a Pro Travel invoice on behalf of Pro Travel or the supplier. So even if you pay directly to Carnival, that still needs to be receipted via Pro Travel. We need proof of proper handling of funds. Again, proof just simply means you did it. We're not trying to look for anything. Credit card authorization forms, anytime you take a credit card from somebody over the phone and you don't know who they are. Proof of service regarding the availability of health and cancellation insurance at the time of initial sale. Any and all commissions for reservations or bookings found to be processed in violation of or disregard of these rules and regulations will be forfeit. We're not interested in taking anybody's commission because that would just make you mad, and then you might decide that you don't want to be with Pro Travel. That is not our intention. But you can't sell anything without providing customers with a receipt that's timely and some kind of documentation of what they purchased. It's the law, and we expect everybody to do and follow that. It's one of the things that causes us so many issues in the commissions department more than anything else is not even invoiced. Invoiced 3 months later, invoiced incorrectly. You know, just so many issues with that, but we're clearing that up right now. It has to be done at the time of sale, and we will give you an extra 24 hours. So if you book it on the 13th, by the 14th, we want to have an invoice in the system. All right. After you've taken the trainings and made $5,000 in retail travel, again, that's really nothing. You generated $500 in commissions. We'll bump it back up to 70%. Now, those of you who are already at 70 or 80%, this doesn't apply to you. This is for people who are just starting the business and really only 1 or 2 bookings, and that's it. We also have a bonus program where we pay an extra $100 once you accomplish that anyway. So really, it's a non-issue, non-factor. We just want to make sure that people have taken the trainings and they do, in fact, know what they're doing when it comes to booking travel. Once they do that, we bump them up to 70%. After they sell 100,000, which is the IATAN guidelines, we bump them up to 80% all future bookings, and we waive all monthly fees. So you can actually get to the point where you don't even pay Pro Travel any fees, no hosting fees, campaign manager, all that stuff is included at no charge to you simply because you're making it happen. And that's where we want everybody to get to. That's the purpose of Pro Travel, is for us to train you so that you can be very proficient in booking just about anything or everything. In the meantime, we're here to help you every single day with helping you book almost anything you can imagine. No matter what client comes up to you, we can help you do that. So not a problem. All right, the next thing I want to talk about as you start your business is coming up with a business plan. This is something that I was talking to somebody today about. You know, one of the biggest problems with the travel industry is a lot of people get into it simply because it's fun. It sounds like a lot of fun. It sounds like, well, that would be great to cruise for $40 a day. You mean I can really stay at the Omni for 50% off? I can stay at the Hilton for 50% off, the Holiday Inn, all those things. Of course, we all know we can do that almost any time. There's fam trips, there's seminars at sea. We get incredible travel deals. That just comes as part of the deal. However, It's very, very important that the number one reason that you get started in this business is because you want to get paid. I started travel because I wanted to get paid, not because I wanted to go to Jamaica for free. I started in the travel business because while the travel benefits are great, I still need to have some jingle jangle in my pocket. I hope you guys all feel the same with regards to that. And so what I want to do right now is help you formulate, just in a very brief nutshell. Pro Travel's already done all the work. The opportunity is there. There's not much more you need to do other than learn it, get started, learn from some mistakes, make it happen, practice, and before you know it, you're going to be doing fine. But some things that you need to know, and those of you who have already been in the business a long time, you need to step back for a second and make sure that your business plan is appropriate. And when I'm talking about business plan, because there's not a lot of fees involved with Pro Travel Network, and it's unfortunate sometimes, because sometimes when something isn't really expensive and it doesn't take a lot of oomph to acquire it, sometimes you don't have the same love for it or commitment to it. So sometimes things with no cost have no value. So we have to be wary of that you really look at this business and you value it. Now, when it comes to a business plan, write these notes down. A lot of people in the travel business, and I'm not typical. I did not come from the travel business. Most people in the travel business couldn't teach me anything. Some of you enjoy going to Cruise 360 and some of these big events around, and I listen to some of these so-called travel gurus, and they couldn't sell their way out of a wet paper bag. And I think a lot of you have gotten it that I spend most of my time teaching sales and marketing. I don't spend much time teaching you how to book travel. And I've said it many times, a monkey could learn how to book travel, but a monkey can't learn how to sell. A monkey can't learn how to market. Those are the things that these people need to be learning. And what's happened, because the travel industry is so disjointed, and what I mean by disjointed is Carnival doesn't care what Royal Caribbean is doing, and Hyatt doesn't care what Holiday Inn is doing, and Club Med could care less what Sunwing is doing, and Air Canada could care less what WestJet is doing. And so what happens is we're booking through all of these entities, and they all have different rules. They all have different regulations, so it's really a disjointed industry. And with that, unfortunately, over time, we've become the lackeys or the flunkies of the industry. We're told, hey, if you go sell my hotel, I'll kick you down 10% commission. And travel agents have been doing that for years. But I'm going to tell you guys something. There's not very many things I would do in life for 10% commission. You probably couldn't even get me to get out of my chair for 10% commission. I'm not greedy, and it doesn't mean that I turn down small things. That's not what I'm saying. But in the scope of me building my business, I sat down and I realized that in order for me to be successful, I need to look at my business the same way that the Hilton looks at their business. They're not selling those rooms and only making 10%. That's just what they've agreed to pay you. And so what's happened is travel agents across the industry, they book hotels all day long for 10%. So you spend how long to book a $100 hotel room to make what, 10 bucks? I didn't start this to make 10 bucks an hour. I didn't start this business to make $5 on an airline ticket that I've got to talk to you and go back and forth and you telling me where you can get it and this and that. That's not why I started this business. I started this business because I wanted to build a successful business. And so I'm going to be honest with you, I will pass on a 5% commission. I will pass on a 10% commission and won't even bat an eye. Now, if it's the only thing sitting in front of me, I may take that just because I believe the customer might be worth more down the road. So I want everybody to keep that caveat there, because many times a customer that you can't make a lot of money on the first time, once you build relationship, the next time it becomes easier and easier. Next time you just got their credit card. Paul, can you just take care of me on that? Sure. So keep that in mind. But in the whole scheme of things, as I'm building my business and my phone is ringing every day, at some point, I can't take that booking. That booking does not make sense. Everybody write this down. Every booking does not make sense. Write it down. You need to know that right up front, because one of the things that blows a lot of people out of the business is when they don't think they can compete, or they think that they can't match this deal, or I can't match that. That's going to happen sometimes, because in travel, everything is booked in bulk. We have lots of suppliers. Pro Travel doesn't sell any travel. We are connected with all the suppliers. So you might book something through Huntington, and Huntington may have gotten a consolidated deal during this period, and another hotel chain or another flight consolidator might have booked this many seats during this period of time. So there's always going to be these fluctuations. Sometimes you might have a better price. Sometimes you might not have a better price. Maybe you need to look for a different supplier who might have a better price. But guess what? At some point, you've got to make a decision whether that makes sense or it doesn't make sense. And I grant you that most travel agents in the industry, hopefully those of you who have listened to me over the years, have pulled out of that consumer mentality. There's nothing good about a 5% commission, nothing. There's nothing good about a 10% commission. Sure, we take them, but you need to make sure that you have a reason for doing so. If you're doing it because you feel like you need it, that's a bad reason. And really, the reason that it happens is because, again, it's not your fault, it's the industry. The industry, unchecked, because travel agents have no voice, there's a lot of independence. They just treat us like we're just the hired help. Here, go sell my hotel rooms for 10%. Go book my rental car, I'll give you 5% commission. Book my flights and I'll give you 3%. I mean, who can work for that? Nobody. But nobody thinks about it. We just start doing it and we're working our butts off. We're working all month long, and at the end of the month, we can't understand how come we can't make any money. They're making money. They're making more money on the bookings that you make, and they're the wholesaler. You're the retailer. Write that down. You're the retailer. They're the wholesaler, yet they're making more on that hotel room than they're paying you in commission. Isn't that sad? But you're the retailer. You're the one that should be making more. You should take that wholesale price and do what you want with it because you are the retailer. And I hope this all makes sense to everybody. I'm going to go right here and I'm going to read something. This is from Cron.com. It's just a small business website. And this is just by a guy. I mean, I'm not saying he's anything special. I don't know who he is, but it's good information and it's accurate information. And I'm showing it to you because it's third-party validated. What is the average gross profit margin for a small retail business? Hey, that's us. Gross profit margin and net profit margin are two factors linked to a small retail business's success. In basic terms, gross profit margin is the profit margin that is existing before removing taxes and operating costs. Now, there is no average gross profit margin for small retail business since every retail business is unique. That's true. To show the range of gross profit margins, consider that a retail grocery store operates with a gross profit margin of around 25%, while a small jewelry store can operate at a gross profit margin level of around 50%. Okay? Although there is no average gross profit margin for a small business, many small businesses operate within the parameters of having between a gross profit margin of 25% and 35%. Stop. So what are you guys doing? How bad do you want that 5% commission? How bad do you want that 3% commission? That $20 service fee on a $1,000 ticket? It doesn't make sense. What you're doing is you're working yourself to a point where you're not going to enjoy the business. You're going to get to a point where you're looking at every client with skepticism. You're not going to have that happy-go-lucky attitude and have fun with it. That comes from between the two ears. When you get to the point, as I started this call, you get happy. You don't get upset. You don't try to find ways. You don't go dig the shovel out and figure, I've got to find a way to make this booking. Let me go find 20 other suppliers so I can see if I can make this little tiny booking. Let it go. Let somebody else book it. Now, Paul, why would you say that? Because not all business is good business. Write that down. Not all business is good business. I want all of you to read this right here. It says, did you know that nearly 80% of vacations, honeymoons, destination weddings, group travel, family reunions, and more are booked using an experienced travel agent? 80%. So your competition is not Travelocity. Your competition is not Expedia. Your competition is not Orbitz. If you have a client that says, you know what, I can get it on Orbitz for this. Okay. If you can't get it through one of your suppliers and find a way to mark that up to the range that you've put down in your business plan, that's the problem. We don't have a business plan, right? So we're just all over the place. I'll take a $10 booking. I'll take a $3 booking. I'll take a $1,000 booking. You're just all over the place because you don't have a business plan. You did not set your business plan up that says, here's where I need to be, and this is where I'm going to work. When it goes outside of those parameters, I've really got to have a strong reason to do that because it's not constructive to where I need to be. Number one, it pulls your average down. Every 5% booking, you got to make that up. How much more do you have to make to stay within the 25, 35 range if you're taking 5% bookings? 3%, 2%. And before you know it, you will be operating outside of the business plan that most of you don't even have. You need to come up with the amount of money that you believe that you need to make. I've given you the parameters. We've gone and we've seen that it's not just me. This is what small businesses need to make. It's not a small business if you're making just enough money to pay you. You're your only employee. Where's the profit? Where's the money that's going to go into the bank? Where's the money that's going to fuel that business so at some point you need to hire an assistant, right? How are you going to grow your business? See, that's the problem with travel agents. They don't treat it like a business. We're just lackeys. just making a little money so we can be in the business 50 years, but we got to travel the world. No, I want to make some serious money. I want to hire an assistant. You guys can all hire assistants. You can hire 2 or 3 people. Let's make it happen. Get some leverage. But you've got to set that up from the start. So the first thing I want you guys to do is put a business plan together. Now, what does that mean? Again, you don't have to do anything formal because we've pretty much done everything for you. You got a business in a box. But what you need to do is say to yourself, I need to make this much money. Now, I know I need to build my business. I know it's going to take time. I know it takes time to build the turn up. I know all of those things. But as I'm building it, where I need to be is at 30% commission. In the home office, that's what we try to do. At Pro Travel Toronto, that's what we try to do. 30% commission, period. Yeah, but Paul, they went on Travelocity. And? See, a Travelocity customer is not my customer. See, my customer's right here. Nearly 80% of vacations, honeymoons, destination weddings, or group travel, family reunions, that's basically anybody that's doing anything more than just a single flight or a single hotel. 80% is booking from an agent. So instead of me spending time trying to make that booking, I'm going to spend my time marketing for the 80%. See, it's moving the time to more productive activities. It's all about production. It's all about being productive. And so in your business plan, you need to write down, stay productive in these parameters. I don't care whether you want to average 20%, 25, 30, 35, 40. You come up with the number for you. For Pro Travel, it's 30%. I can show you the numbers. Jessica, she's a 30% monster. Alex, Jennifer, Izzy, all these people know the drill. And here's the great thing about it. They take as much as they can, but they also take what they can get. But because they're always asking for the money, they can still take those small bookings because they're asking for far more than 30% most of the time. So again, the key is to ask for what you want, take what you can get. So make sure that you're asking for enough because you'll get lots of those bookings and then you're taking the small ones too. That's really where you want to be. You want to be taking them all. There's nothing wrong with taking a small booking if you're getting the big ones too. If all of your bookings are small, if I run a report and every one of your bookings is averaging between 10 and 15%, I already know where your head is at. You're not working the business to actually build a business. You're just working. You just simply bought a job. Okay? Let's not buy a job. We can go get a job without buying one, right? This is a business. In business, we need to have certain goals and objectives. And those goals and objectives in business are gotten from a certain amount of revenue. We need to have a certain amount of profit in that. Now that goes into sales and marketing training. I'm not going to go in that tonight. That's tomorrow night. You guys are going to learn a ton. But I'll give you this right now. What is the best deal? Write this down. What is the best deal for a client? The best deal is when the client believes it's the best deal. Wherever the client says yes at, that's the best deal. Doesn't matter what the price is. At whatever point the client says yes, he's as happy as he's ever going to get. There's no such thing as happy. He's not going to be super duper backflip happy. Wherever he says, yeah, let's do it, that's the happy point. That's the win-win. That's the best deal for that client. Just like when I bought my tennis shoes. The day I bought them, I could have went on eBay. I could have kept shopping. I could have went to the discount house. But the day I bought those shoes, I got the best deal. It was the deal I was happy with, and I bought them. That's the same in everything with regards to sales. So write that down. We're going to go on that tomorrow. We're going to do some heavy training tomorrow. But let's go ahead and move on now. Business plan, 25 to 35%. Make sure you write it down. That will guide you. That will help you when you start getting drawn to do something that, you know what, it's not worth it. Let's just go find some other people. Spend your time elsewhere. That's why marketing is so important, as we'll be talking about tomorrow. Marketing is so much more important than sales. It's infinitely more important than the sales process. We'll learn how to sell over time, but give me somebody who's willing to talk to everybody, and he's going to make sales and doesn't even know how to sell, simply because he's using the law of big numbers. All right. Commission versus markup, very quickly. We're going to talk about this over the next 3 nights, but I want you to write this down so you understand, since we're talking about wholesale versus retail. Commission versus markup. Very easy to understand. A commission is anytime you overpay the supplier. Write that down. So when Carnival Cruise Line says we pay 16% commission, that's not true. What it means is you're going to overpay them 16% and they're going to pay it back to you. That's what a commission is. It's simply an overpayment to the supplier. Well, Paul, I'm booking with Vax and they allow me to do my own markup. No, they don't. They're simply letting you set your own commission. You can add more to your commission. You quote the client. If he says yes, you've earned additional commission. Why is it still commission? Because it's still an overpayment to the supplier, who then sends you a check back for the commission amount. So a commission is any time you overpay the supplier, regardless of whether it's a set amount or you can arbitrarily set the amount. Fair buzz, you set your own commission, but you're still overpaying directly to the supplier. They then cut the check back to you. That's a commission. Markup is when you overpay yourself or Pro Travel Network, because we are you. That's simply when you go in and you say, John, here's the trip that you were looking for. It's perfect. We already talked about all the value. Your family's going to have a great time, and the price on that is going to be $4,836. John says, great, that's perfect. Let's do it. Well, what you did is your price from the supplier was actually $3,000 or $3,500. But you marked it up. You added some additional money, and you're going to take the money in-house. So what you're going to do is actually take the client's credit card or check or whatever, and you're going to have it paid directly to Pro Travel. Pro Travel then collects that money as a markup. We've been overpaid, and then we are going to send the net amount to the supplier. So we'll send a check of $3,500 to the supplier. We'll keep the extra $1,300. That's considered markup. So a markup is when you overpay yourself. You're in control of it. You've already got the money. So that's the difference between a commission and a markup. But a commission is any money that's going to be sent from the supplier. A PTN markup is anytime we overpay Pro Travel. So for example, let's say I book something through Carnival, and I call Carnival and they say the price on that booking is $1,000. And for sake of argument, let's just say there's no tax or anything. And on that $1,000, Carnival pays me 16% commission. So I'm going to make $160 commission anyway. But I'm going to go ahead and quote the client $1,200. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add $200 to that in the form of a markup. And so now I'm going to charge the customer $1,200. So I'm going to get a $200 markup, and Carnival is going to send me $160 commission. Now, to affect that though, understand markup. At some point during the booking, Pro Travel has to get at least $200. So you can pay the whole $1,200 to Pro Travel. We will then send Carnival $1,000, and then they will send us back $160. Or we will just net it. We would get the whole $1,200. We would then send Carnival $840, because we're only going to send them the net amount. Why pay them more just to send it back to us? So we would net Carnival and just keep all the money in-house. So that's the difference between commission and markup. If you like that, again, we're going to be talking about that. Markup is very, very powerful because it's undisclosed versus a service fee. A service fee is disclosed very quickly. If you go to a restaurant and you buy that nice steak and you know you're paying over, you pay $20 for the steak, you know the steak didn't cost $20, it probably cost $8, $4, $3. They buy it in bulk, you know you're paying over, right? You don't think about it, that's just the price of the steak. Guess what? That's the markup. They're charging you whatever they want for the steak, and they're not disclosing to you what they paid for the steak. That's just markup. Whatever price you want to give the client, if he says yes, whatever that money is yours. It belongs to you. Does that make sense? That's what a markup is. Again, the commission is what you're going to get from the supplier anyway if you sell it for their particular price. All right, let's talk about very quickly marketing and branding. Each one of you has your own website. You want to start your marketing with your website. You want to make sure that your website is up to date and populated so that everything can leverage off of that website. Each one of our websites is actually coded. I want you guys to see this. If I put my cursor right here and I just hit backspace, you can actually see the code in this website. It says Travel Agency Clovis, California. There's actually more information in there, and I'll show you that tomorrow night, where you can actually code your About Me section to put the right information for search engine optimization. Tomorrow we're going to talk about that a lot, so that as people are on Google, Yahoo Local, any type of directory looking for travel services, travel agency, travel agent, they can find you. And this is a very, very powerful place to work because most people in the business aren't doing it. Most typical travel agencies are completely oblivious to what's happening out there. So in your local market, all of you can be number one. You could be having people call you right off Google. Hey, I saw you on Google. You were the top on the page. All of you, every single one of you. And every one of our sites is coded for you. And we're going to show you that tomorrow night. Tonight, I'm just giving you a quick overview, okay? But you can code that in your About Me section, whatever information that you believe will attract people who are searching, on Google. Social media, Facebook, Twitter. I'm going to show you how to use those to the best of your ability to attract bookings, to attract interest, to get paid. Of course, there's traditional marketing, which we'll talk about as well. Networking events, becoming part of your local chamber, clubs. I mean, everybody's booking travel, taking kids here, taking kids there, honeymoons, people taking their wives places, taking their kids places, people traveling for all kinds of reasons. Everybody's traveling. The market is wide open. Let me tell you guys, this is the biggest opportunity on the planet. I'm not just saying that. Travel is massive. And guess what? Everybody wants to do it. We're not selling lotions, potions, creams. We're not selling anything that you got to sell somebody, convince somebody. They're already convinced. Travel's not on trial. We already want to do it. And if you're the person that can help me make that happen, I'm in. The great news is almost all the entities out there in the business now, they don't have a clue of what it takes to grow a travel business. There might be a travel agency on every single corner. They don't have a clue. They don't know how to hold on to their customers. They don't know how to build a relationship. They don't know how to follow up. I'm telling you, most people in the travel industry got in because it's fun to travel, not to make money. But we live in a new era now. We live in an era of Flight Center. We live in the era of Travelocity and Orbitz. We live in an era of these big box companies. But guess what? They can't beat us in our local market because, again, people want to talk to somebody. And if you can build that relationship and follow up, it's really all about you. It is not hard. Internet. We're going to talk about Google, Google Places, Google Plus. Let me go right now to Google Plus. Google Plus is the monster in the room, okay? Let me flip over to Facebook for a second. Facebook is great. Every one of you should have a Facebook page. Caution, I don't necessarily believe in you having a business Facebook page. You should use your name as your business and keep your Facebook page personal, but just let people know that you're in the travel business. There's nothing wrong with bringing travel into the mix. The problem with going out and creating your own Facebook page just for your travel business is now you've got to get people that are already connected to you and move them to someplace else, and they can get that information anywhere already. It's about relationship. It's not about your travel page. You're better off building your page and using that page to let people know about your kids. Let people know about what's going on in your life, that you're funny, that you go to church, that you do this, that you do that. But guess what? You also travel, love to travel, and you book travel. You don't have to tell people, come book from me. Just by the great posts and content that you put, they're going to know you're in the travel business, and they will start calling, hey, can you get me a great deal on this? Hey, I know you're in the travel business now. That's how you do it. Again, trying to support another page is just, it's a lot more effort, and it's not going to do you any good. I'm telling you. So Facebook, Google Plus. Let me do this. Let me do it really quick. I'm going to go to Google, standard search, and I'm just going to type in travel agency. And guess who comes up first? Pro Travel Fresno, right at the top. Lewis Travel's been in business like 30 years, but we're right on top. You know why that is? Because we work the system. 22 reviews. We've got 20 reviews there, 50 reviews on yp.com or yellowpages.com. We've got 30 reviews here all over the place. Why? Because we work social media. Client says, Paul, I had a great time on that vacation. Thank you so much. John, hey, it was a pleasure. Hey, could you do me a huge favor though? You know, because we do live in 2012. Would you mind just taking what you just told me, and it's awesome, and I appreciate the business. Would you mind going to the web and just finding my page on Google or Yahoo Local and just putting that information? Would you mind doing that for me? Oh, no, Paul, I'll take care of that. I'll do that right now for you. Guess what? Now you're using your testimonials to build your business. We get calls all the time. I was on Google. I was searching. I read your testimonial, and I came and asked for you. We have people walk in the office asking for particular agents because they saw a great testimonial on the web for that particular agent. I live in Fresno. We live in Fresno. 500,000 people. Look at the pages here, guys. 22 reviews. The rest of them don't have any. 2 or 1. They've all been in business a lot longer than Pro Travel Fresno. Now, granted, Pro Travel Network has been around a long time, but we just launched Pro Travel Retail a year and a half ago, and look at that. We're number 1 in everything. I could type in cruise agency, and we're number 1 right there, right on the map. Travel agency. The rest of them are down below. Every one of you can do that same thing by creating your own Google Plus page. All you do is set up a Google account. You go to what's called Google Places. And again, we're going to show you that. I'll actually walk you through that tomorrow night. And you set it up. And then you just start working it. Here's the deal with Google. Now Google has gone to Google Plus. It used to be Places. Now it's Google Plus. All right, this is the Google Plus page. All of you who have in the past done this, your Places page has now become a Google Plus page. Google owns search. Now they're getting into Facebook's territory with advertising, creating friends lists, uploading videos, all that stuff. Who do you think is going to win, Facebook or Google? Google owns search. 85, I don't know what the exact numbers is, but 85, 90% of search goes through Google. Now, if 85 to 90% search goes through Google, do you think they're going to be popping up Facebook pages? No, they're going to bring up their pages first. So you want to make sure that you get a Google Play. Again, we're going to go over that tomorrow, but huge opportunity. I guarantee you in your own city. If I grabbed a city, let's say I go to Toronto for a minute. Let me just do that real quick, and then I'll move to the final part of the call. I'm going to change my location. Let's just see, I go to google.ca, and here's a test for all of you guys. I'm going to type in travel agency. Now, Pro Travel Network we're opening our new office over in Markham. See, I've already got Markham here because I was playing with it. I want you guys to see on the local side, here's what pulls up. Golden Pacific Travel, 1 Google review. Marlin Travel, none. CAA, none. Sears Travel, none. Within 90 days, we'll be number 1. Did you guys hear what I said? Within 90 days, we will be the number 1 agency found on Google, and the phones will be ringing off the hook. We will be selling a lot of travel out of that office. But guess what? You guys can do the same thing wherever you live. That area around you is your local area. Those people who are in it, there might be a travel agency on every single corner. They don't have a clue. They don't know how to hold on to their customers. They don't know how to build a relationship. They don't know how to follow up. I'm telling you, most people in the travel industry got in because it's fun to travel, not to make money. They do not have the sales skills that I will teach you over the next 10 days. They don't. That's a fact. The opportunity for you is massive. You know, I'm just going to have you look at this really quick. We're going to talk about filling your pipeline with lots of leads and stuff, but I want you to look at this. This is just sales in general, so you guys understand sales and the opportunity. The vast majority of all sales will be made by effective follow-up, because a survey found recently that sales reps followed up on less than 17% of all inquiries. Can you believe that? That means when you call a place and ask about something, most of the time they're not going to call you back. That means that customer is open. He's wide open. He just wants somebody to call him back. This is what we teach. I'm not going to teach you how to book Carnival. I'm not going to teach you how to book Sunwing. I'm not going to teach you how to book that trip to Jamaica. A monkey can figure that out. Jessica's going to help you with that. She's the head monkey. I'm just kidding. But she's good at what she does. But she will help you with those mechanics. But those are the simple things. The things that you need to get are the sales and marketing skills and habits that will help you make a fortune once you learn how to book it. Just following up will put money in your pocket. Why? Because the other person's not. Even when a person calls you and says, hey, I'm calling 3 other people, don't worry about that, because the other ones aren't going to call them back anyway. Massive opportunity. Massive opportunity. And I just want you to look at this. We're not going to talk about the funnel, but just look at that. A recent survey found that 19% purchased within 6 months. So if you don't follow up, you're not going to get them. 29% purchased within a year. If you don't follow up, you're not going to get those either. Almost 50% within 2 years. Paul, are you saying that I could actually sell 50% of the people I talk to? Actually, you can sell 60% of the people you talk to, even higher, because everybody's going to travel eventually. See, we have a different kind of a product. We're not selling things that people may or may not buy. Everybody travels. It's just a matter of when. So if you have to keep following up every month for 2 years, you're still going to get them. The key to this statistic, though, is that all of these people are still buying. The only question is, who are they buying from? See, 60% are going to buy no matter what. There's only one question: who from? Does that make sense? That's the opportunity. From you. You can steal every customer in your market, every one of them. They're all fair game. Just make sure that your customers are not fair game for somebody else. See, we have to think like business owners. That's where you make the mistake. You know that statistic that says most people die right around their house because they don't put their seatbelt on? Well, I'm just going down the street, so you don't put your seatbelt on. See, we can't think that way. Most mistakes are made when we're dealing with friends and family. The enemy to success for so many people is their friends and family. Why? Because we don't do things the way we should. With friends and family, we show up any kind of way. Hey, sis, I just want to know if you want to, book this, and we don't even treat them like professionals. That's where you get your practice. You should treat your friends and family like professionals, and they'll treat you like professionals. Otherwise, they're going to try you on. Most people, believe it or not, fail because they never get past friends and family because they don't do it the right way. Because friends and family, they'll kill you. Hey, man, can you give me that discount? Hey, kick me down. I know you can give me that free deal, Come on, Paul. I know you can do me better than that, right? And you've got to stand up, especially when you're brand new, and say, hold up a minute. I'm just now starting my brand new business. And I would love to book this travel for you, but here's the deal. If we engage, I expect you to book it from me. Even if my price is a couple dollars higher, how long have we been friends? How many candy bars have I bought from your kids? How many times have I loaned you money, supported you, did this, and that? I need you to support me. And when I make it, when I get over this hump, when I get started, I'll always be there to kick you down. But right now, I need you to support me. See, that's the conversation. But you have to treat them professionally. Otherwise, you're going to get bombarded with, well, I had a lady crying, and when I was in Victoria, we were doing a meeting, and she actually broke down crying in a presentation. I was doing a training, and we were talking about this very subject, and as I was going through it, she started crying, and I was, are you okay? She said, that happened to me. My sister, I worked on her booking for 3 weeks, and she bought it from somebody else. And I knew what happened. She didn't set the tone right up front. Her sister was trying her on, and her sister didn't even find a better deal. She actually ended up paying a few dollars more. Your family's going to try you on to see if this thing that you're trying is real, to see if you're really going to, so you have to let them know right up front, this is the real deal. I'm in it to win it. I'm a professional. And if we even engage, just by the fact that we're brothers and sisters, cousins, best friends, I expect you to book from me, period. Okay, man. Okay, you got it. They'll do that. They'll just back down and go, you're right. But if you don't set that tone, you're in for it. You may not even get to regular customers because they'll make you question everything about you starting your business. All right. We've talked about the policies and procedures. We've talked about invoicing. You know what? I think I'm about done. All right, everybody. That's it. I will see all of you tomorrow night. Thank you so much. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.